Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking the absolute fire hose of recent AI news and distilling it down into exactly what you need to know. And wow, we are really looking at a week of incredible contrasts. On one hand, we've got these tiny, incremental software tweaks that literally change how an AI solves a math problem. But then on the other hand, we have high-stakes billionaire lawsuits, leaked secret text messages, and massive structural shifts in how AI is integrating into our daily lives. So let's dive right in and connect all these chaotic dots.
Here is our roadmap for today. Act 1 is going to cover incremental refinements, Act 2 looks at proactive agents, Act 3 dives into the boardroom drama, and Act 4 explores AI in everyday life. Let's get started.
Act 1, the polish. Let's look at OpenAI's latest refinements.
So OpenAI just rolled out a brand new default model, GPT 5.5 Instant. And we are really entering an era of incremental refinement here. If you look at the old default, GPT 5.3, honestly, it kinda yaps. It gives us massive, long-winded explanation, actually falsely claims there's no real solution to a math problem, and just generally takes up a ton of screen space. But GPT 5.5 is entirely different. It's concise, it's accurate, and it gets straight to the point. The new model also leverages memory for way better personalization. Think about it like this. If you ask for a tea recommendation, instead of spitting out a generic list, it remembers you specifically like clean, Taiwanese high-mountain tea and pushes you toward options that fit your established vibes. It's just so much more polished.
Their next big update features 3 incredibly impressive new real-time voice models. These are currently available in the API. We've got Real-Time 2, which is now utilizing GPT-5 class reasoning, Real-Time Translate, handling over 70 input languages live, and real-time whisper for streaming transcription. But what is absolutely game-changing here is the level of control you now have. You can finally tell the AI to, frankly, just shut up and listen. You can literally tell it to stay quiet while you have a side conversation, and it will just silently take in all that context until you explicitly invite it back into the dialogue.
To wrap up the OpenAI news, they rolled out a rapid-fire list of updates. They introduced something called Trusted Contacts. This is a totally optional safety feature that actually notifies a designated friend or family member if the system detects discussions indicating serious safety or self-harm concerns. Really important stuff there. They also launched a Codex Chrome plugin that lets the AI control your tabs directly. But perhaps the most surprising update, especially considering OpenAI's recent push to eliminate distractions or side quests, is Codex Pets. You can literally type a command to hatch a virtual pet that lives right there in your workspace. Anything from a cute cartoon wolf named Wolfie to a user-generated angry.io.
Act 2, the brains and the brawn. Anthropic's agent push. Okay, we are seeing a massive industry shift right now, from reactive chatbots to proactive agents, and is perfectly illustrated by this new Anthropic feature called Dreaming. Now, dreaming isn't just basic memory where the AI remembers a few things you typed. No, it is a scheduled background process that actively reviews your past agent sessions. It's looking for recurring workflows, mistakes, and larger patterns that a single agent wouldn't ever notice on its own, and then it restructures that memory to self-improve. The AI is truly transitioning from a glorified search engine into an autonomous assistant that will soon tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I noticed a pattern in your workflow. Want me to just automate that for you?"
But here's the catch. To power these proactive, dreaming agents, you need an unfathomable amount of compute. Anthropic just committed a staggering $200 billion to Google's cloud. That is a massive number. But what's truly fascinating is that they also signed a total surprise compute deal with SpaceX. This massive influx of compute power is the exact reason Anthropic is finally able to raise those usage limits for Claude, which, as we know, has been solving one of the absolute biggest pain points for their users.
Now that SpaceX deal gets particularly interesting when you zoom out and look at the relative costs across the whole market. Elon Musk's xAI recently launched Grok 4.3, and while it isn't the absolute smartest model out there, those top spots definitely still belong to Claude Opus and OpenAI, Grok 4.3 is a massive leap forward in capability. But crucially, it is incredibly cheap to use. Musk has actually noted that xAI has an enormous amount of excess compute right now. So in a classic enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of move, Musk's companies are seemingly selling that excess compute over to Anthropic to help them compete against OpenAI.
Act 3, the drama. Let's look at some boardroom secrets revealed.
All right, let's take a completely neutral look at the boardroom drama currently unfolding in the courts between Elon Musk and Sam Altman. First up is this absolutely staggering number. Court documents revealed that OpenAI co-founder Greg Brockman's financial stake in the company is worth $30 billion. That's billion with a B. Musk's legal argument here really hinges on the claim that OpenAI was originally founded as a non-profit and was not supposed to enrich its founders. So Musk's team is pointing directly to this massive $30 billion stake as concrete evidence to support his claims of founder enrichment.
The trial also brought forward some pretty heavy testimony from former interim CEO and CTO Mira Murati. Under oath, Murati testified that Sam Altman bypassed the company's deployment safety board for a new AI model. She stated that Altman falsely claimed the legal department had cleared it. When Murati actually checked with the general counsel, she realized there was a misalignment and that legal had not, in fact, cleared the deployment.
But honestly, the absolute wildest disclosures from this whole lawsuit have to be the actual text messages from that chaotic weekend when Sam Altman was initially fired. Let's look at this like we are literally reading over their shoulders. Altman, who was clearly totally in the dark about his impending termination, texts Murati asking, "Can you indicate directionally good or bad? Satya and others are anxious."
And Murati's response is just incredibly blunt. She replies, "Directionally very bad." She tells him flat out that the board wants a new CEO in place tonight, and they are ignoring all the pressure coming from Microsoft for an update. Altman even offers to just walk away to prevent crazy lawsuits, or asks to just come in and talk to the board, but they had completely locked him out at that point.
As the frantic texts continue, Altman desperately asks, "Is Satya making progress at all?" These texts strongly suggest that Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella essentially had to step in as the adult in the room to negotiate and just untangle the massive confusion of that entire weekend. It is a fascinating, completely unfiltered look at the reality behind closed doors at one of the world's most powerful companies.
Act 4. The Everyday Integration.
Okay, we are zooming all the way out now, because beyond the incremental tweaks and the crazy courtroom drama, the real story is how these massive AI models are rapidly invading the software we already use every single day. Look at how effortlessly this is blending into our workflows. First, Anthropic's Claude can now move directly between Microsoft Word, Excel, and Outlook, keeping the full, uninterrupted context of your conversation as you switch apps. Second, Adobe Acrobat has integrated AI that doesn't just summarize boring PDFs anymore, it instantly generates entire AI podcasts discussing the document. And third, Spotify just rolled out a feature allowing your personal AI agents to generate daily morning briefings and push them directly into your Spotify library to listen to on your morning commute.
And it's not just software anymore. The hardware integration is accelerating super fast. Apple is reportedly in the late stages of developing new AirPods with built-in cameras. Now, obviously, you aren't going to be taking selfies with your ears. These cameras are specifically designed to capture low-resolution visual information about your surroundings. They are basically acting as eyes for Siri, so the AI agent has real-time context about where you are and exactly what you are looking at. Taking that hardware integration to the absolute extreme, NVIDIA is actually partnering with a startup called Span to install mini AI data centers directly into the electrical panels of new homes. We are literally talking about 16 Blackwell GPUs built right into your living room walls. The concept here is that your house itself becomes an AI supercomputer running local inference. And, much like selling solar power back to the grid, the idea is that you could potentially rent out your home's excess compute capacity to AI companies for passive income. Wild, right?
And finally, this brilliantly illustrates how everyday business is changing alongside all of this. Because consumers are now using AI tools for product discovery instead of traditional search engines, we are seeing the massive rise of AEO, Answer Engine Optimization. Tools like HubSpot's new AEO dashboard actually track how often your brand is recommended across platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. The reality is, if you don't know how AI is talking about your brand right now, you are completely missing out on the next generation of discoverability.
So, what is the big takeaway from all of this week's news? We are actively watching AI evolve from a reactive tool you have to prompt into a proactive, dreaming agent that anticipates your needs before you even ask. With AI getting seamlessly integrated into our office software, into our earbuds, and quite literally into the walls of our homes, the question I want to leave you with today is this. As this technology becomes an autonomous, everyday partner, are you truly ready for it to take the wheel? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helped you cut through the noise, and I will see you in the next one.